Hello, my mathematicians. Today we are going to be looking at lesson 6.5, where we're going to be adding and we're going to be subtracting fractions. So we're getting to the meat of this chapter. So far we have looked at estimating fractions, we've looked at using models to add the fractions, and we have listed and found common denominators in equivalent fractions, which will get us to be able to do the actual addition and subtraction. So now that we can do that, let's begin. We're going to start with the problem 1/4 plus 3/8. Our first step, every time, whether we're adding or subtracting, our first step is to find the common denominator. And remember, we have two different ways we can do this. One way is by multiplying the two denominators together. So in this case, we would do 4 times 8 and get 32. So that's one choice of a common denominator. The other way, and the way that I recommend, because you'll see why here in a minute, is to find your least common multiple, or list out your multiples and find the smallest one that they share. So if we do that, we have 4. We do 4, 8, 12, 16. 8, 16, 24. So that means 8 is our least common multiple. So our least common denominator would also be 8. So we're going to use 32 and we're going to use 8. We're going to start with the 32. That means we want our denominator to be 32 for both of them. Remember, whatever you do to your denominator, you do to your numerator, because now we're creating our equivalent fractions. So step 1 is to find your common denominator. Step 2 is to find your equivalent fraction. So whatever we do to our denominator, we have to do to our numerator. So to get 32 from 4, we multiply by 8. Which means we have to multiply the 1 by 8, which is 8. We multiplied our 8 by 4 to get 32. And so we have to multiply our 3 by 4. So it gives us 12. Now we can add. Our denominator is going to stay the same. It's going to be 32. So now we need to add 8 plus 12. Well, 8 plus 12 is 20. But I am not done yet, because I have to simplify, because there are numbers that I can divide both 20 and 32 by. So if I'm going through my factors, I'm going to go through my factors of 20. And I'm going to start with 20. I can't divide them both by 20. Well, the next highest one I can divide it by is 10, but I can't divide them both by 10. Then we have 5. Can I divide them both by 5? No. Next is 4. Can I divide both 20 and 32 by 4? Yes. So that's what I'm going to do. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So we get an answer of 5/8. Okay. So we multiplied to find our common denominator, found our equivalent fractions, added, and then we simplified. Now we're going to use 8 as our common denominator. So what do we do to 8 to get 8? Well, we left it the same, so we're going to leave our 3 the same. What do we do to 4 in order to get 8? Multiply it by 2. So we're going to multiply the 1 by 2. So we get 2. Now we add together. Our denominator is going to be 8. We get 2 plus 3 is 5. 5/8. So remember, you're always just adding your numerator or subtracting your numerator. And this is already simplified, so we don't have to simplify anymore. This is why I like using the least common multiple or least common denominator, because in this case it's already simplified, and in most cases it's either going to be simplified or you're going to have very little simplifying to do. Where when you multiply, you're often going to have to simplify. and maybe do more simplifying if they have a case of simplifying. The subtraction is the exact same way. You find your common denominator, then you find your equivalent fraction, and then you subtract. Right now, on this page, on page 375, I want you to circle either one way or another way, the way that you like doing it best. So do you like multiplying better, or do you like using the least common multiple better? So I want you to pick which way you're going to do it. Which way you like. Just circle it in your book or in your notes. I'm not going to run through the subtraction problem because of time, but that is the problem that I'm going to have you do here at the end of this video. Again, it's the same process. First you find your common denominator, then you find your equivalent fractions, then you subtract, and if you need to simplify, you simplify. Okay, we will discuss it when we come back.